My name is Jacqueline Kagume and I work at the Institute of Economic Affairs, which is a public policy think tank based in Nairobi, Kenya. The conceptual thinking behind this webinar was informed by the need to understand and clarify the political economy of the production and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines globally. We start with a fact, which is that the outbreak of the SARS coronavirus and the subsequent spread of the disease has had far-reaching effects on the global economy. Nations around the globe had to find ways to mitigate and curb the spread of the virus in order to save the lives and livelihoods of their people. From the onset, it was clear that vaccination would be one of the most effective ways to control the spread of the disease. However, this production and distribution would subsequently face a number of challenges, including perceptions of inequity, which led to emergence of the claim of vaccine apartheid. To demystify this claim, there is need to understand the underlying interests and powers behind vaccine production and the political economy around it. Development and deployment of the vaccines seemed to favor countries that had huge reserves and whose economies could adjust quickly to the global health crisis. These are the countries that formed the immediate vaccine market. The principle of state sovereignty implies that every country bears the responsibility to protect and support its citizens, and therefore the responsibility for public health is an individual country obligation. There were internal or domestic conditions that determined the way different countries responded based on available and varying resources and individual country interests. For instance, we know that the US made considerable public investments to accelerate the scaling up of the manufacture and deployment of the vaccine. Conversely, a country like Kenya currently faces a major public debt constraint, which reduces the fiscal space for a similar investment and in turn reduces the ability of the government to purchase vaccines at a similar scale. So each individual country made choices that led to different fiscal policy responses and which in turn had different public health consequences. So in our view at the Institute of Economic Affairs, the vaccine apartheid perception was not necessarily pre-designed as such. It is more of a consequence of the various stages of economic development by different countries and signals a form of market failure. So stated differently, we see the vaccine apartheid claim as a collective action problem. And this is to say that when we have different countries acting in their own immediate interest, it generates an outcome that is not equitable and is ultimately bad for everyone. So what lessons do we draw from this? And how do we use lessons from this pandemic to get ready for the next? As we explore the lessons and options that we have, the purpose of our discussion today is to take out fault finding and the accusatory language that we have seen in vaccine policy discussions, and to establish whether it is actually possible to coordinate vaccine production and distribution at the global level. Thank you.